I got a little stuck doing some intro stuff and setting up the surprise, but here we go.
And every morning I wake up feeling 94. I sit up too fast. My knees start talking, my back starts making decisions without me. Never streamed before. Everybody keeps saying just use a BS. Just use a BS. I've been looking at this thing for 3 hours. What's a scene? What's a source? Why are there 2 audio mixers? Why does fixing the microphone break literally everything else? Some kid says it's easy. Yeah, you're 18, you still recover from injuries. My name is Fire, though these days it's mostly embers. The flame's still there, it just needs a little encouragement. My name is Fire, at least that's what they call me. The spirit wants one more game, the body wants health insurance. I'm old, not obsolete, still talking trash from the captain's seat, still carrying teams while they're blaming lag, still watching the same mistakes repeat. I'm old, not obsolete, the mileage is high, but the engine's sweet. The knees complain, the back protest, but somehow I'm still elite. Back in my day, you bought a game and that was the game. No battle pass, no premium currency, no ultimate diamond, founder, platinum, deluxe, whatever edition. Back in my day, you got stuck, you bought a strategy guide, or called your friend, or suffered like a man. Back in my day, the internet disconnected when somebody answered the phone, and somehow we survived. Back in my day, LAN parties counted as exercise. You ever carry a CRT monitor up 2 flights of stairs? That's a workout. My name is Fire. No, the pilot light flickers. I spent 10 minutes looking for my glasses. They're on my face. My name is Fire. Now I've still got some heat. Maybe not wildfire heat. More don't touch the stove heat. People keep asking how old I am. Old enough, I remember the Last Supper. I told Judas, that guy looks suspicious. Nobody listened. Old enough, I saw the Trojan horse. I said maybe don't bring that inside. Nobody listened. Old enough, I watched them build the pyramids. Took forever, whole project was mismanaged. Old enough, I remember when the Dead Sea was just feeling a little under the weather. Back in my day, you unlocked character. Back in my day, you were cosmetic. Back in my day, cheat codes were free. If your save file got corrupted, you cried, you screamed, and then you started over. Back in my day, we blew into cartridges, and I don't care what science says, it worked. I survived dial-up, I survived GameSpy, I survived games for Windows Live, I survived Windows Vista. At this point, I'm less of a gamer and more of a historical landmark. These kids got reflexes, I got pattern recognition. I've watched the same bad decisions for so many years. I can predict them before they happen. That's not skill, that's archaeology. I'm old, not obsolete, still showing up and refusing defeat, still carrying teams that call me washed, still proving them wrong every week. I'm old, not obsolete, feeling 94, but still competing. The eyes need bigger text, the knees need replacement parts, the back's filing complaints, but I'm still here. My name is Fire. Well, mostly embers, but every gamer knows the truth. The flame burns hot. The embers last longer.
I am absolutely not prepared for this. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. So, how are you guys doing today? I got a little surprise set up there on the side that we're gonna turn on here every so often, depending on you know how the chat goes and such. How's everybody doing? Mike Low can't hear me, but I haven't changed a thing. So I have no idea why my mic would be low. Hold on a second. No, wait, no. Yeah, I have better. All right. Yeah. All right. Here we are then. Welcome in. Welcome everybody. How are you all doing today? Why is the stream not caught up on my preview? That is very annoying. There we are. Okay. Nice shirt, very formal. Thank you, Box. I appreciate it. So, let me just show you guys what we're doing here today. I mean, you guys already saw the book cover, the flaps, right? Let me throw them in here so we can do a little bit of reading. Let's see. Filled Holes 2. So Filled Holes number 2. That's what I call the image, you know. Obviously this is chapter 1. Rastov has put in a whole lot of time into this, apparently. Yeah. Book club. Yeah, that's what we'll call this. Book club. Let's take a look. Wait. I don't want to cover the cat camera. Some scars run deep. Some desires run hotter. Fuego didn't ask for a second chance at love. He spent his life fighting battles, some in the ring, some in the boardroom, and some in the dark parts of his past. Trust is earned, loyalty is rare, and love, that was never part of the plan. Then came him, steady, patient, the kind of man who sees beyond the scars and stays anyway. For the first time, Fuego dares to want more. More than passion, more than chemistry. He wants forever. But the past has a way of clawing its way back, especially when it wears a familiar smile and has everything to lose. His rival, his shadow. The man who thinks Fuego still belongs to a world of control, power, and pain. When love puts you in the crossfire, how do you choose between the life you built and the love that sets you free? Filled Holes is a steamy emotional roller coaster of forbidden desire, fierce loyalty, and the messy, beautiful truth of what it means to be whole. Raw, addictive, unapologetic, with twists and turns no one saw coming. This is more than a love story. It's redemption dressed in sin. Welcome into today's Sunday, smutty Sunday. Oh, you guys paid for this. I cannot believe we're doing this. But yes, Sunday, Smutty Sunday is a thing. And yes, we have a new kitty cam. And I think we're just gonna slap the big kitty cam on, for, fuck it, anything over like a $5 TTS. We'll just slap that on for a couple minutes to try to balance out Smutty Sunday. You know, you gotta bring in some chill, some sort of chill. God, this stream preview keeps like not keeping up, and it is annoying. But yeah, that's where we're at. That's what we're doing. I've got some character images for you guys. We'll bring them up as they. I can't believe you've got me doing this. I cannot believe you've got me doing this. But we'll bring some character images up as they come up. And yeah, we'll as time goes on, we'll tweak the cat cam and stuff. We'll get it all figured out. But yeah. You guys ready? Oh my god, there's already a goal. Hold up. Oh, okay. All right, we have a goal in chat, ladies and gentlemen. The goal ends in 2 hours and 40 minutes. It is 50 light blue super chats. And we get chapter 2 of Filled Holes. I think that's perfectly achievable. And with the cat cam as incentive, you know what? We'll turn it on for any super chats. Any super chats, we'll just slap that cat cam on a big mode for you guys. For now, though. For now. I think it might be time to start. I don't know. What do you guys think? You think it's time to go? I think it's time to begin this journey, this book. Let me see some ones in the chat. If you guys are ready to start my fucking torture. Yep. That's kind of what I thought. That's kind of what I thought. All right. Here we go. Filled Holes by R.A. Rastov. Chapter 1. Filled Holes. Hold on, let me put you guys over here on the side here so I can actually see the chat while I'm reading, because this is going to be so... Hey, Alex, thank you for the gifted membership. Let me make sure my PC audio is turned up here. There we go. And then, on this new cam, I don't have the TTS overlay, but there we go, fixed. The TTS overlay is now enabled on this camera. And you know what? While we're at it, let's put it into the kitty camera too. That means it might show up twice, whatever. We'll get it figured out. Alright. Anything pops up, it'll be right there. But thank you so much, Alex. Appreciate that. So let's get you guys back up here so I can see what's going on. You know what? I didn't actually hear that one come through my headset. Usually it does.
Stop it, baby. That tickles. At Volk_pack super chatted $2. You got this.
Thank you, Volk. Appreciate that very much. I hope you guys heard that. I hope it came through. It should be set up so that it works. But yeah, there it is. I see it on the preview now. I see it popping up. It's just my preview is so slow. Fantastic. Chapter 1. Filled. Oh, wait. I gotta turn the kitty cam on for that one. Chapter 1. Filled holes. Fuego Arrancador had not expected 45 to feel lonely. He had expected stiffness in the mornings, the occasional betrayed groan from his knees, and perhaps the slow surrender of whatever remained of his useful vanity. But loneliness had arrived with none of the drama of age and all of its persistence. It lived in the second coffee mug that never left the cupboard, in the side of the bed that remained untouched, in the silence of the house after midnight, when even the refrigerator seemed too loud. Once, there had been a wife inhabiting those spaces, filling them with conversation, irritation, laughter, perfume, forgotten shoes, half-finished drinks, and the ordinary warmth of another human life. Then there had been Nigel Pierce Corey. Is it too quiet? There ain't gonna be no turning up. There ain't gonna be no turning up, 'cause somebody had me turn off all my damn filters. Oh, now he wants the extra gain. Of course. It's not that I'm whispering, though. I'm speaking at my normal volume. Let me... Alright, let's turn on some... Let's turn some audio filters back on. Filters. Gain. Oh, look at that. That should be a whole heck of a lot better now. Hello, testing. 1, 2, 3. Can you guys hear me? Is that any better? Or did I just make it worse? Much better. All right. I had to turn down, whoa, better. All right. There we are. But now you guys are going to hear all like the background noise, and every time I pull out the little packet of their snacks, the crinkling, but that's okay. That's okay. As long as you guys can hear it well. All right, and since, we did get a mention of a character. We did get a mention of a character. His name was Nigel Pierce Corey. Now let me show you guys. Let me show you guys some of these characters here. Let's bring in to begin with. Fuego Arrancador. This is Fuego. Apparently, Fuego Arrancador. Where the heck is it? No, lock that in there. No. Yep, that's Fuego. Let's see. Let's bring in Nigel Pierce Corey. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Nigel Pierce Corey. Let's do a transform. See if we can fit it to screen. No, that's about as fit to screen as it's gonna get. Nigel Pierce Corey. So we've got Fuego Arrancador and Nigel Pierce Corey. Keep these two in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Keep these two in mind. These are the two people we're talking about right now. Okay. Back up to where we were. We're back onto filled holes over here. All right. So the audio is a whole lot better. The cat is trying to climb up onto my desk. We're back. Where did we leave off here? There had been Nigel Pierce Corey, known simply as Pierce, and whatever Fuego had once believed about permanence had been dismantled with astonishing efficiency. Oh, you think we need to take it from the top? All right, we can do that. We can go from the top. That's perfectly fine. We were having volume issues, you know. We wanna take care of the people, you know. All right, we'll go from the top. Yeah, no problem. Chapter 1. Filled holes. Fuego Arrancador had not expected 45 to feel lonely. He had expected stiffness in the mornings, the occasional betrayed groan from his knees, and perhaps the slow surrender of whatever remained of his youthful vanity. But loneliness had arrived with none of the drama of age and all of its persistence. It lived in the second coffee mug that never left the cupboard.
Stop it, baby. That tickles.
At C-Box 915 super chatted $1.99. Thank you for doing this. You're a great sport.
Thank you, Box. Appreciate it. Never left the cupboard. In the side of the bed that remained untouched. In the silence of the house after midnight, when even the refrigerator seemed too loud. Once there had been a wife inhabiting those spaces, filling them with conversation, irritation, laughter, perfume, forgotten shoes, half-finished drinks, and the ordinary warmth of another human life. Then there had been Nigel Pierce Corey, known simply as Pierce. And whatever Fuego had once believed about permanence had been dismantled with astonishing efficiency. His wife had not slowly drifted away or simply decided the marriage had run its course. She had left him for Pierce, a man Fuego knew, a man who had smiled across his table, accepted his hospitality, shaken his hand, and carried on as though nothing improper existed beneath the surface. When the truth finally emerged, Fuego felt less like a husband who had been left, and more like the last man in the room to understand the joke everyone else had been telling at his expense. Almost a year later, Fuego had become good at surviving in ways that looked deceptively close to living. He worked, ate, showered, paid his bills, kept the house respectable, and performed the basic maintenance of adulthood with enough consistency that nobody could accuse him of falling apart. On Friday nights, he sat in his recliner with a cold beer balanced against his stomach, while people on television spent absurd amounts of money on abandoned storage units. Outside, rain fell steadily beneath a black winter sky, tracing silver lines down the windows and filling the street with the damp smell of wet concrete, cold earth, and clipped hedges. Inside, the television washed the room in pale blue light, while a half-empty takeaway carton sat on the kitchen counter. "Don't bid again," Fuego warned the screen as a man raised his hand over a storage unit containing 3 broken chairs, a rusted lawnmower, several mystery boxes, and what appeared to be a taxidermied badger wearing sunglasses. What? The man bid anyway, and Fuego lowered his beer with a look of personal betrayal. "Idiot," he muttered, shaking his head as though the bidder had ignored sound financial advice offered directly through the television. His phone began vibrating across the coffee table, and the name Rastov glowing against the darkened room. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another character, Rastov. Shall we take a look? Shall we take a look at the man called Rastov? Would you like to see him? This, ladies and gentlemen, is the man known as Rastov. Keep it in mind. We got Rastov. We got Nigel, Corey. And we got Fuego Arrancador. So, Fuego. He watched it for 2 rings before answering. Already suspicious, because Rastov rarely called on a Friday night, unless he was about to interfere in something. "What?" Fuego said, keeping his eyes on the television. "Open your front door," Rastov replied. Fuego frowned and looked towards the hallway. "Why?" he asked. "'Cause I'm standing outside it," Rastov said. Fuego closed his eyes for a moment and sighed. "Why are you standing outside my house?" he asked. Rastov replied. "'Cause if I call first, you would have told me not to come over." Fuego glanced towards the door. "I was going to tell you that anyway." Rastov sounded pleased with himself when he answered. "Exactly. Open the door." When Fuego finally did, cool damp air swept inside around Rastov, carrying the smell of rain-soaked pavement and flowering shrubs farther down the street. Rastov stood beneath the porch light, holding a 6-pack beneath one arm and a paper bag of steaming takeaway under the other. Droplets of rain scattered across the shoulders of his jacket. He stepped inside before Fuego had properly moved aside, and headed towards the living room with the confidence of someone who had long ago stopped waiting for invitations. "It's nice to see you too," Fuego remarked as he shut the door. Rastov glanced back over one shoulder and said, "Oh, you'd miss me if I died." Fuego followed him down the hall and replied, "I'd miss having someone to blame things on." Raston set the food down, looked towards the television, and made a face. Storage auctions again, he asked. It's educational, Fuego replied. Raston glanced at the screen where a bidder was now celebrating the purchase of a cracked shelving unit and a box of ancient electrical cords. It's rubbish, he said. Fuego lifted his beer. It is people purchasing undervalued assets. Raston looked at him. There's a man paying $400 for somebody else's tetanus. The humor faded when Raston looked around the room more carefully. He noticed the drawn curtains, the single glass beside Fuego's chair, the remains of takeaway from the night before, and the strange stillness that had settled over the house since the marriage ended. Raston knew Fuego well enough to recognize the difference between peace and absence. You're doing it again, Raston said, as he sat on the couch. Fuego's jaw tightened slightly. Doing what? He asked. Raston leaned forward, with his elbows on his knees, and replied, living like you're waiting for something to end. Fuego looked back at the television. I'm fine, he said. Raston answered, you're functioning? That's not the same thing. The words irritated Fuego precisely because they landed too close to the truth. He rubbed a hand across his beard, feeling the coarse silver and dark strands beneath his fingers. I don't need another intervention, he said. Good, Raston replied, 'cause this isn't one. Fuego looked over suspiciously just as Raston reached into his pocket. No, Fuego said immediately. Raston froze with the phone halfway out. I haven't done anything. Fuego pointed towards the device. You've got the look. Raston smiled. What look? Fuego replied, the one you get right before my evening becomes significantly worse. Raston pulled out the phone anyway and turned the screen towards him. Two pink hearts overlapped in a way that looked far more suggestive than romantic. And beneath them sat the words, filled holes, in elegant cursive. Fuego stared at the logo for several seconds before slowly looking at Raston. No, he said. It's a dating app, Raston replied. It's called Filled Holes. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that was the wrong voice. It's called Filled Holes, Fuego said, as though the name itself constituted evidence in a criminal trial. Raston nodded. What's the name? Fuego shook his head. That's not a dating app. That is something written on the wall of a public toilet next to the phone number. Raston laughed and scrolled down. Read the slogan. Fuego reluctantly leaned closer and read, Everybody has a hole in their heart. Let us fill yours. He stared at the screen, then back at Raston. That's worse. Raston smiled. I think it's romantic. Fuego took another drink and said, I think it should come with antibiotics. Raston had already begun building a profile before Fuego realized what was happening, and the next 10 minutes became an argument disguised as administration. 45, bald, Salt and pepper beard, cars, Chinese food, long drives, loyalty. That last word quieted Fuego, and Raston noticed enough not to turn it into a joke. When the app asked who Fuego wanted to meet, Raston glanced at him. Women? Fuego hesitated. Raston waited and then asked, Men? Fuego rubbed at his beard, unsettled by how large the question suddenly felt. He had spent so much time not wanting anybody that he had never forced himself to examine the edges of that emptiness. I don't know, Fuego admitted. Raston shrugged. Then don't know. We're going to take a small little intermission right there. Just because it's a break in a page, you know? I think I need to know how you guys are feeling right now. I need to know, is this working? Are you guys into this? How do you feel about the story so far? Because I think it's pretty great. I think it has been pretty well written. It is so far entertaining. Mr. Fuego has not been put into any crazy situations so far.
Stop it, baby. That tickles.
At GinaBean3 super chatted $5. I think I'm pregnant woman.
Thank you, Gina. Thank you, Gina. Volk says the women are ovulating, it seems. It would appear, I guess. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. I'm gonna turn the cat cam on. Cat cam. And I'll throw some incentive for the little bastards to show up. There you go. Yeah, look at them running in. I'm very glad you guys are enjoying this. When I said I would read a story, I thought we were gonna go into like some Poe or something. Not this. This is absolutely wild. And I'm taking the little cat cam break to rest the larynx. Meow says, I see cats, I have been summoned. Welcome in, Meows. Welcome in. We're taking a minor intermission here while the kitties have themselves a little snack. Gina says, hell yeah, Poe, my favorite. But dare I say, this is better. Oh, no. Listen. Like I said, I previewed it. Yeah. Rastov has got it. Buy flood insurance. Meow says, when are you going to wear cat ears? I don't think actually. I might somewhere around here have like one of my old, like my ex-wife's old headbands that might have cat ears on them. And dono goal? maybe. But yeah. Give me a... Let me know in chat if you guys would be so kind. W's or L's for how this is going. Dono goal for cat ears? Oh my god. Fires Cat Cafe for a Firestov episode? I mean... Yeah, W's or L's. Let me know how you guys feel this episode is going. This is definitely, 77 miles outside of my comfort zone. Start practicing my ooh-woos. Oh, I'll just play that one of you saying it, like that little intro sound I have on Discord. That's the way I'll go with that one. Meow says he has practice. I've already made sure of it. Wow. Wow. Rastov's going to be real curious about that one. When the hell have I ever ooh-wooed? Other than just right then. No one wanted this more than Rastov, Corey says. He's positively drenched. Yeah, I know, right? He wrote this with the pure intent of having someone read it to him. We all know it. We all know it. No, Meows, that was us paying you channel points to make you make funny noises. And say funny things. Alright, 2 more seconds and we'll get right back into it. We haven't even gotten to the juicy stuff yet, Rastov says. Dude's just setting up a dating app profile at the moment. That's true. That is true. Meow says, and I got you back by having this. Oh, maybe you did. Maybe you did. I don't have to go back and check the VODs. Maybe people will find some funny voice clips of me. Maybe I'll do the same thing Rastov did. And grab one of those clips and use it as a little Discord intro, but it'll just be me saying it. Blocked from memory? No, I smoke a lot. A lot. A lot. It's kind of what I'm doing right now. That's why the camera's off. Trust me, bro. It'll help. It'll make the voice huskier. Alright. Time to lock in. Let's bring back my face. And to the desk cam. There we are. Fuego looked at him. Raston lowered the phone slightly and said, "You don't owe anyone a label tonight. You don't have to marry somebody. You don't have to sleep with anybody. You don't even have to kiss anybody. Talk, have dinner. Remember what it feels like to have someone look at you because they want to." That last sentence lodged somewhere beneath Fuego's ribs. Being wanted had once seemed ordinary, almost background noise. Now the idea of it felt dangerous. "What if I hate it?" Fuego asked. "Delete the app. Raston replied. What if they're all weird? Fuego asked. Raston smiled. You're weird. Fuego nodded reluctantly. Fair. Raston watched him for a moment before asking the one question that actually frightened him. Now, what if you meet someone you like? Fuego said nothing. Rejection seemed simple compared to that. Rejection closed the door. Liking someone, well, that opened one. And Fuego had spent almost a year bricking his shut. Raston seemed to read the silence without needing an explanation. One day, he said. Fuego looked at the phone, then at the rain sliding down the window behind him. Finally, he exhaled. 1. The profile went live before Fuego could reconsider. At first, there was nothing, which almost relieved him. And then the phone vibrated once, twice, 3 times. Within minutes, the notifications became absurd. Fuego stared at the growing number with disbelief, while Raston behaved as though he had personally restored Fuego to the romantic marketplace. Then, one profile stopped them both. Matthias Power. Age 43. Matthias wore a dark jacket over an open-collared shirt, and his photograph had an effortless polish to it that made Fuego instantly self-conscious about every bad photograph ever taken of him. Matthias looked composed, without being stiff, handsome without appearing desperate to prove it, and his smile had just enough restraint to suggest he knew exactly the effect it had. His biography was short. Good food, better conversation, terrible decisions. Looking for someone who still believes sparks can happen twice. Fuego read the last line again. Raston noticed. He's handsome, Raston remarked. Fuego kept looking at the photograph. I was going to say that. Raston smiled. Were you? Fuego shot him a look. Shut up. Raston handed him the phone. Swipe. Fuego hesitated, feeling something embarrassingly close to nerves tighten in his stomach. Then he muttered, fuck it, and swiped right. Alright, let me turn that picture back off. Let's take a look at chat here for a second. It's the rolling of the R's, Gina says. You a dope boo, bring back the cat. The cats are still there. Cat gone, meow gone. I gotta get back to grandma anyway. I'll see you later, meows. That's right. Send a dono to get the cat cam. That's how it works. Box says BRB, Gina's getting an abortion. If Rastov had a suntan and a law degree, the Matthias Power, oh my god. Rastov says, keep projecting your voice. Much better experience when you add oomph. I'm trying to find a good happy medium where I can give it oomph like this, but also be quiet like this. Without, ideally without bursting everyone's eardrums. Let's see. Oh, there's still so much more. Holy crap. There's so much. Oh my god. What have you guys got me doing? Animated hearts filled the screen, and the words, "It's a match," flashed up so brightly that Fuego almost flinched. Raston immediately grabbed him by both shoulders. "The hole has spoken," Raston announced. Fuego shoved at him and said, "Get off me." Raston shook him once. "The filling begins." Fuego tried to pry his hands away. "I am deleting the app." Raston laughed. "Destiny has opened itself." Fuego pointed towards the door. Raston. Raston laughed so loudly, the neighbor's dog started barking through the wall. 3 nights later, the rain had cleared, leaving the city rinsed clean beneath a cool evening sky. The clouds had broken near sunset, and the last smear of orange had faded from the horizon by the time Fuego parked outside Sweet and Sour Love. What the fuck kind of establishment name is Sweet and Sour Love? What? Where has this man... Where have these men, I should say, for there are 2 of them, where have these men decided to meet? A top-tier restaurant. A top-tier, sweet and sour love. All right. Welcome, monsieurs, to Sweet and Sour Love. We have a table right here for you. Yeah, Beads has it. It's no pizza dongs. Badger says, "I want some Sweet and Sour Love. Hey, I'm sorry, Badger. By reservation only, apparently. This place is too upscale." The pavement still held damp patches that reflected the restaurant's red lanterns, turning the ground into wavering pools of crimson light. A soft wind moved through the street, carrying the smell of wet asphalt, distant exhaust, and the sweet floral scent from the shop next door. Each time the restaurant door opened, warm air rolled outward, scented with ginger, fried garlic, sesame oil, hot broth, and something sugary enough to make Fuego's stomach tighten. He could not tell whether he was feeling hunger or nerves. He had changed shirts 4 times before leaving home. Rastov knew about 3. The 4th was between Fuego and God. He stood outside the restaurant window pretending to examine the menu, while actually inspecting his reflection on the glass. The black shirt sat well across his shoulders and chest. His beard had been freshly trimmed, and the silver threaded through it caught the lantern light in a way he decided looked distinguished rather than old. His bald head reflected slightly more red light than he would have preferred, but there was no helping that. He rubbed one hand over his scalp and muttered, "You're 45 years old. It's dinner." "Talking to yourself already?" a voice asked behind him, and Fuego turned to find Matthias standing a few feet away. The photograph had not prepared him properly. Matthias wore a charcoal jacket over a dark shirt with the collar open at the throat. The outfit fitted enough to reveal the shape of his shoulders without looking contrived. His hair was neatly styled. His jaw was freshly groomed, and the faint breeze carried a trace of his cologne towards Fuego. Something warm and woody, with a hint of spice behind it. The scent struck Fuego harder than it should have. He became abruptly aware of his own pulse, his own shirt, the 2 sprays of cologne he had applied and worried about for 20 minutes. "Matthias?" Fuego asked. "Fuego?" Matthias replied with a smile. They shook hands, and Matthias's palm was warm, his grip firm, but not aggressive. The handshake lingered, perhaps 1 beat longer than courtesy required. Fuego noticed. Matthias noticed. Neither said anything about it. Matthias glanced towards the door and asked, "Were you planning to stand outside all night?" Fuego shoved his hands into his pockets and replied, "I was considering it." Matthias smiled. "Nervous?" Fuego answered too quickly, "No." Matthias studied him with a quiet amusement, until Fuego sighed and admitted, "Maybe a little." Matthias nodded, as though satisfied. "Good." Fuego lifted an eyebrow. "Good." Matthias said, "Means I'm not the only one." Fuego looked at him. "You are nervous." Matthias replied with complete seriousness, absolutely terrified. Fuego blinked. "Really?" Matthias smiled. "No." The laugh escaped Fuego before he could stop it, loosening something in his chest that had been tight since he had parked. "Asshole," he said. Matthias's smile widened. "There, now you're smiling." Inside Sweet and Sour Love Love was warmer and more intimate than Fuego expected. Red paper lanterns hung from dark wooden beams and cast soft pools of color across the room. A low instrumental melody drifted beneath the murmur of conversation, occasionally interrupted by the clink of porcelain or the hiss of something hitting a hot wok in the kitchen. Their table sat near the back beside a decorative screen painted with cranes and flowering branches, and a candle burned between them in a small red holder, its flame bending whenever a waiter passed. Fuego ordered fried rice, fragrant with soy, egg, scallions, and toasted sesame. Matthias ordered dumpling soup, and when it arrived, the surface of the broth shimmered beneath curls of steam, carrying the rich scent of ginger and stock into the space between them. Fuego looked at the dumplings, floating near the surface, and Matthias noticed immediately. "What?" Matthias asked. "Nothing," Fuego replied. Matthias lifted an eyebrow. "You're staring at my dumplings." Fuego looked up and found Matthias wearing an expression of perfect innocence. "You did that deliberately," Fuego said. Matthias lifted one dumpling carefully with his spoon and blew across it. "I don't know what you mean." Fuego narrowed his eyes. "You absolutely know what you mean." Matthias examined the dumpling as though judging its craftsmanship and asked, "Would you like one?" Fuego replied, "I'm fine." Matthias continued, "They are very good." Fuego said, "I am sure." Matthias looked down at the spoon. Quite large. Fuego stared at him until the corner of Matthias's mouth finally twitched, and then Fuego laughed. Not the polite little laugh people used when they were still negotiating how much of themselves to reveal, but a full laugh that tightened his stomach and made the couple at the next table glance over. "Fucking dumplings? Really?" Jesus Christ. 'Tis getting steamy, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed getting steamy. From that point on, the evening became easier. Conversation moved through cars, music, terrible fashion choices, old jobs, embarrassing stories, and those strange little admissions people make when they unexpectedly feel comfortable. Matthias listened with an intensity Fuego found increasingly difficult to ignore. When Fuego spoke, Matthias watched him rather than the room. His eyes occasionally drifted to Fuego's beard or the line of his mouth before returning with no embarrassment at having been caught. And each time it happened, a low warmth gathered beneath Fuego's skin. Fuego had forgotten what it felt like to be looked at with desire. Not evaluated, not pitied, not merely recognized. Desired. The distinction was intoxicating. At one point, Matthias asked how long Fuego had been bald, and Fuego replied, "Long enough that I've stopped pretending it is temporary." Matthias looked at his head with a slow, unapologetic appreciation. "It suits you," he said. Fuego touched his scalp automatically. "Really?" Matthias leaned back slightly, his gaze still fixed on him very much. Fuego narrowed his eyes. "You are flirting with me." Matthias smiled. I thought that was permitted. Fuego rested his forearms on the table. Within reason. Matthias leaned forward, just enough that the candlelight caught his eyes. And who decides what's reasonable? Fuego felt a little rush of heat through his chest. I do. Matthias's smile became slower, almost lazy. Well, then I'll behave. Something about the way he said it convinced Fuego he had no intention of behaving at all. The restaurant gradually thinned around them, while the candle burned lower, and outside the damp pavement reflected the lantern light in blurred red streaks across the glass. Their conversation softened, until Matthias finally asked, "Can I ask you something personal?" Fuego already knew what was coming. "It depends," he said. Matthias' expression became gentler. "Your marriage." The warmth in Fuego's body receded slightly. He looked down at the remains of his fried rice and felt old memories crowd at the edges of the evening. Matthias immediately leaned back and said, "You don't have to." Fuego almost took the escape, but something about Matthias's patience stopped him. "She left me," Fuego said. Matthias remained quiet. Fuego continued. "For someone else. Nigel Pierce Corey." Matthias's eyebrows lifted. "Pierce?" Fuego looked up sharply. "You know Pierce?" Matthias hesitated, then gave a small apologetic smile. "I've heard of him." Fuego muttered, "Of course you have," and stared down at his plate for a few seconds before adding, "She chose him. That's the part that stays with you. You start wondering what he had that you didn't, whether everyone else could see something wrong with you before you could." Matthias' expression changed. He reached across the table and placed his hand over Fuego's. The touch, gentle enough that Fuego could have withdrawn without embarrassment, but steady enough to make its meaning clear. "Then she was a fool," Matthias said quietly. Fuego looked up. Matthias held his gaze and continued, "I mean it. She had you, and she chose to throw that away. That's her loss, Fuego, not yours." The words landed differently than any reassurance Rastov had given him. Perhaps because Matthias had no obligation to say them. Perhaps because they came from a man who had spent the entire evening looking at him as though there was nothing missing at all. Fuego looked down at their hands. Matthias's palm was warm, his thumb moving once across Fuego's knuckles. The simplicity of the touch nearly undid him. Friends hugged him. Rastov slapped him on the shoulder. People shook his hand. None of it carried this particular intimacy. This quiet message that said, "I chose to touch you." Fuego slowly turned his palm upward, and Matthias's fingers slid between his. Their hands settled together on the table while candlelight moved across their skin, and Fuego could feel his own pulse against Matthias's fingers. Intermission! Things are getting steamy! I think it's time to look at some cats again. I'm gonna need to consume a tad more herbal refreshment to get through the rest of this, cause holy crap!
Stop it, baby. That tickles.
At Ginabian3 super chatted $5. So I had the baby, but now I'm pregnant again. Pregnant woman, light skin tone.
Stop it, baby. That tickles.
At MJ underscore redacted super chatted $2.
Stop it, baby. That tickles.
At OG Badger Cat super chatted $5. Meow meow pow.
Thank you guys all so much, Gina, MJ, and Badger Cat. Thank you guys. We got the cat cam on, although she's kind of standing directly in front of it. You can only see a little bit of fuzz. Oh, we are 6 out of 50. This will be a, correct me if I'm wrong, Rastov, but this will be a continued goal. We're gonna carry the progress over the next few streams. Is that right? Until they hit the goal for chapter 2, because you want this book to happen so damn much. Sapphire says she had to get out the spray bottle. Are you using it on yourself? Rastov says if that was the case, I would have made it higher. All right, well then we've got to hit these 50 for chapter 2 next week, ladies and gentlemen. She's like right there on the camera. I have faith.
Stop it, baby. That tickles.
Thank you so much, MJ.
At MJ underscore redacted super chatted $2.
Thank you so much. You guys are all buying up that flood insurance, huh? I hear it's a very good idea. I hear what's coming next. Maybe a flood. MJ says I want this book. I mean, it's it's pretty well written so far. Oh my god, that hit was woo. It is pretty well written. And yes, donate to help raise Gina's kids, because she's got a feeling another one is coming. I have a feeling now that Matthias and Fuego.
Stop it, baby. That tickles.
At C-Box 915 super chatted $1.99. So who's making to AI art of this book?
We need to see a little bit of art. Yeah. Let's. I would like to see. I would love to see what this restaurant looks like. Sweet and sour love. I want to know what the outside and the inside of this restaurant actually looks like. And ideally we'll have we'll have Fuego and Matthias there in their table, touching hands, staring into each other's eyes. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what you guys come up with. The drive to Matthias's house later that night carried an entirely different atmosphere. The streets were darker now, the clouds thinning enough for fragments of moonlight to appear between them. No, kitty, you don't want to be on my lap. You want to be down there where people can see you. I'll throw some treats for you. You guys are not the brightest cats, you know. I know I'm not on screen. You guys threw in a bunch of donations, so I'm gonna let you look at the cats for a minute. Gonna let you look at cat butt. Oh my god, she's literally got her butt right on cam. Wonderful. Wonderful. But yeah, now they're not on top of me, and I can read this in peace. Continuing on. Wet asphalt shone beneath the headlights, and the inside of the car smelled faintly of leather. Fuego's cologne, Matthias' warmer scent, and the lingering spices from dinner clinging to their clothes. The radio played quietly, but neither seemed to hear it. Fuego could feel Matthias beside him without looking. Every shift of fabric, every slow breath, every time Matthias's knee moved nearer the center console, seemed magnified by the silence. When Fuego reached for the gear stick, his fingers passed close to Matthias's thigh. Once Matthias let his knee brush lightly against the side of Fuego's hand. It lasted perhaps half a second. Fuego's grip tightened around a gear stick. Matthias looked out the window as though nothing had happened. By the time Fuego pulled to the curb outside Matthias's house, his nerves had become something warmer. The street was nearly silent, except for the low hum of the engine and the steady drip of water from a gutter somewhere nearby. An ember street lamp cast muted light through the windshield, leaving the rest of the car in soft shadow. Matthias looked towards the house, then back at Fuego. "Well," he said. Fuego smiled faintly. "Well." Matthias's voice softened. "I had a wonderful evening." Fuego replied. "So did I." Neither moved. A drop of rain slid slowly down the passenger window, catching the street light before disappearing. Beyond the frame, Matthias tilted his head slightly and asked, "Are you going to kiss me?" The question hit Fuego low in the stomach. "That was very forward," he said, though his voice had already changed. Matthias smiled. I've been told." Fuego looked at his mouth before he could stop himself, and Matthias noticed immediately. "You did it again," Matthias said. Fuego looked back at his eyes. "Did what?" Matthias's smile deepened. "Looked at my mouth." Fuego felt heat crawl up the back of his neck. "Maybe I was checking whether you had a dumpling stuck in your teeth." Matthias leaned closer by perhaps an inch. "Do I?" Fuego swallowed. "No." Matthias's voice dropped. "Shame." The air inside the car seemed to thicken. Matthias's cologne was stronger now, mixed with the clean warmth of his skin and the faint trace of ginger from dinner. Fuego could see the fine details of his face, the slight shadow along his jaw, the flush beneath his cheekbones, the movement in his throat when he swallowed. Matthias reached across the console and placed his fingertips against Fuego's chest. Oh, fucking A, here we go. The touch was light enough to be almost nothing. Yet Fuego felt it everywhere. Matthias's palm settled over him, directly above the steady pounding beneath his ribs. "You're nervous," Matthias murmured. Fuego gave a quiet laugh that came out rougher than intended. "You're very observant." Matthias's fingers spread slightly against his shirt. "Your heart is trying to escape." Fuego looked at him. "Maybe it knows something I do not." Matthias's hand moved slowly upward, dragging the fabric of Fuego's shirt beneath his fingertips until he reached the base of Fuego's throat. The touch sent a line of heat across Fuego's skin. Fuego's own hand settled against Matthias's waist. Tentative at first, then firmer when Matthias leaned towards him. The jacket was smooth beneath Fuego's palm, but beneath it, he could feel the warmth of Matthias's body. Matthias's fingers brushed into the edge of Fuego's beard. "That's soft too," Matthias said. Fuego's voice came out lower. "The beard?" Matthias smiled. "What else would I mean?" Jesus Christ. What are you guys... Rastov? What have you done? What have you come up with? Oh, let me catch up with chat for just a second. Holy God, I gotta scroll. Oh my God, there's so much. I gotta scroll up. All right. Oh, the thigh. I'm done. Sapphire says. The dumpling in between the teeth, says Box. Oh my, yeah, bro. That part was fucking genius. Mooch says, thank goodness there are cats. Yes, they are here as the ranch to our buffalo sauce that Rastov is having us read. They are to cool the heat.
Stop it, baby. That tickles.
At Ginabian3 super chatted $5. As you may have guessed, I am once again pregnant. Twins this time, pregnant woman, light skin tone.
Thank you, Gina. Appreciate it very much. Yeah. They are here to cool the heat. Mooch just got here. This is Timu 50 Shades. Yeah, babe. This is called Filled Holes. This is a book by an author, a very talented author, I might say, called Rastov. You guys may have heard of him. I don't know, but he's very talented. I highly recommend his work. So much so that I'm sitting here reading it to you guys. Rastov says hands above the desk. Well, one has to stay on the mouse so I can scroll down. Oh, good God. What a wild ass stream. A Sapphire says, I need to step in the freezer for a minute. Yeah, Rastov, you're absolutely correct. I've heard that this Rastov fellow is very handsome, extremely smart, and very eloquent, according to what I'm seeing here in his writings. Very quality author. We should have him make a Warhammer novel one day. Just, with less smut. A lot less smut. Anyway, where the hell was I? Fuego laughed once, but the sound disappeared when Matthias's thumb grazed lightly across his lower lip. Box asks, what novels have I read within Warhammer 40k? I will send you my Audible list after stream, because it's like 95% Warhammer, some Witcher, and then a couple other random things. Anyway, the contact silenced him. Fuego looked at Matthias's mouth. Matthias watched his face. The distance between them narrowed until their foreheads touched, and Matthias's breath moved warm against Fuego's lips. Fuego's hand tightened subtly at his waist, drawing him closer across the console, while Matthias's fingers curved behind Fuego's neck. Sweat began to bead lightly along Fuego's scalp, despite the cool night air outside. The windows had started to mist around the edges from their breath and body heat, turning the street lamp beyond them into a diffused amber glow. Matthias's nose brushed his. Fuego closed his eyes, and then the past struck him without warning. Pierce, the suitcase, his wife's face, the knowledge that she had chosen someone else and walked away. Fuego pulled backward sharply. "I can't," he said, turning towards the windshield and rubbing one hand over his face. "I can't do this." Matthias stopped instantly and withdrew enough to give him space without making the moment feel abandoned. "It's okay," Matthias said. Fuego shook his head. No, it is not. I thought it was. I thought I was ready." Matthias replied gently, "You don't have to be." That kindness almost hurt more. Fuego wanted this. He could feel that plainly enough in the heat trapped inside the car, in the memory of Matthias's hand against his chest, in the ache of wanting to close the distance again. What he hated was that Pierce still had the power to intrude on a moment that had nothing to do with him. "Fuck," Fuego whispered, and a tear escaped before he could stop it. Matthias moved slowly, deliberately, giving Fuego every opportunity to pull away. Instead, Fuego stayed still, while Matthias cupped his cheek in one hand and wiped the tear away with his thumb. There was no pity in his face, no impatience, no awkwardness, just warmth. "It's okay, darling," Matthias said softly. Fuego looked at him, throat tight, unable for a moment to find anything clever to say. Matthias's thumb moved once against his cheek, and then that teasing warmth returned to his expression. "My lips are soft," he said. Fuego stared at him, and for a moment, the absurdity of the sentence collided with everything else inside him until a laugh escaped through the remains of his embarrassment. "That's what you've got?" Fuego asked. Matthias smiled. "It's an excellent selling point." Fuego shook his head. "You're an idiot." Matthias replied, "A handsome idiot." Fuego breathed a quiet laugh. Debatable. Matthias's hand remained against his cheek. "Would you like to verify the claim?" Fuego looked at Matthias's mouth again. This time, he didn't pretend otherwise. Matthias stayed perfectly still and waited. That patience did more to Fuego than urgency ever could. Fuego leaned forward, and their lips met. Gently at first, the contact careful enough to feel almost tentative. Matthias did not push. He let Fuego decide the pressure and pace, and Fuego felt the warmth of his mouth, the faint taste of tea and spice from dinner, the softness Matthias had been bragging about with such irritating confidence. The kiss lasted only a few seconds before Fuego pulled back, his heart pounding harder than before. Matthias opened his eyes and smiled faintly. "Well?" he murmured. Fuego's hand slid behind Matthias's neck. Again. The second kiss carried none of the uncertainty of the first. Fuego closed the distance with more confidence, and Matthias responded immediately, one hand moving from Fuego's cheek to his shoulder, and then lower across his chest, while Fuego pulled him closer by the waist. Their mouths met with all the restraint dinner had forced them to practice, now beginning to fray. The center console became an inconvenience they both ignored. Fuego twisted toward him, Matthias leaning across the narrow space until their bodies pressed together as much as the car allowed. What the fuck are you making me read? Jesus Christ. Oh, let's catch up with chat here for a second. Sapphire was not expecting this out of Rastov. Nope, neither was I. Neither was I. Rastov, can we get a spray bottle emoji? Poop Guy says, so thoughtful of Fire and Rastov to give us a dedicated gooning stream. I think this is more of a Fire is suffering stream. As disturbing as this is, keep up the great work, Fire. Dingy says, thank you, Dingy. Thank you for being here, bud. Box SC, we're progressive here. We support the gays. Truth. Rastov says, lock in. I'm locked in, buddy. I am locked in. Rastov is lucky to have a friend like you, Fire. Thank you, Corey. All right, here we go. We're locked in. We gotta finish the chapter. We gotta finish this chapter, guys. Jesus Christ. The real question is gonna be, I'm gonna be able to get through the rest of this shit without laughing. All right. Center convex. Where was I? Here we go. Okay. Here we go. All right. Let me take a drink. Heat gathered between them. Matthias's hand moved along Fuego's side and settled firmly at his waist, fingers gripping through the fabric, just enough to make Fuego's stomach tighten. The windows fogged completely, sealing the car away from the rest of the street, and Fuego could hear their uneven breathing, the low hum of the engine, the faint creak of the seat beneath shifting weight, and the soft rustle of clothing as their hands explored shoulders, backs, necks, and the lines of each other's bodies through fabric. Matthias's mouth left Fuego's briefly, brushing the edge of his beard, then his cheek, then returning to the corner of his mouth. Fuego exhaled sharply, the sound escaping before he could stop it. "Jesus," he whispered. Matthias smiled against his skin and asked, "Good?" Fuego turned his face and kissed him again, rather than answering. Matthias's hand traveled slowly along Fuego's back, fingertips tracing beneath the edge of his jacket and lingering through the warmth of his shirt. Fuego's own hand rested against Matthias's chest and found a heartbeat nearly as fast as his own, and the discovery made him smile into the kiss. Matthias pulled back barely enough to speak. "What?" he murmured. Fuego kept his hand there. "You are nervous too." Matthias gave a breathless laugh. "Shut up." Fuego kissed him again. For several minutes, the car became a sealed little world of heat, breath, scent, and badly controlled restraint. Fuego felt younger, in a way that had nothing to do with age and everything to do with possibility. Matthias's fingers moved through his beard and behind his neck, drawing him gently closer each time their lips separated. Fuego's hand stayed at Matthias's waist, occasionally tightening, as though reassuring himself that Matthias was real and still there. The tension between them sharpened, softened, sharpened again, until Matthias finally leaned back against the passenger seat with his jacket slightly crooked, his hair no longer quite as perfect as it had been outside the restaurant, and his lips flushed from kissing. Fuego looked at him, and Matthias smiled. "You're staring," he said. Fuego's voice came out lower than he expected. "I am allowed." Matthias lifted an eyebrow. "Not like that." Fuego laughed, recognizing the echo of his own words, and Matthias' smile widened. Fuego reached for him again, and the next kiss was slower, less frantic, somehow more intimate. Fuego let himself linger there, feeling Matthias's hand cradle the side of his neck, the warmth of his body against him, the slow movement of breath between them. The urgency softened into something that made his chest ache in an entirely different way. When they finally separated, Fuego rested his forehead against Matthias's. Both men were breathing harder than before. Matthias smiled and said, "I told you." Fuego kept his eyes closed. "About what?" Matthias replied, "My lips." Fuego laughed. "Get out of my car." Matthias grinned and asked, "Was it the soup?" Fuego replied, "Out." Matthias continued, "The dumplings?" Fuego finally looked at him and said, "Matthias," laughing. Matthias straightened his jacket. though the effort was somewhat ruined by his disheveled hair and reddened lips. He opened the passenger door, and cool night air rushed into the car, cutting through the trapped warmth and clearing the small patch of condensation from the glass. The chill touched Fuego's heated skin and made him shiver. Matthias paused before stepping out and said, "Fuego?" Fuego looked at him. "Yes?" Matthias's expression softened, all teasing gone. "I'd like to see you again." The sentence landed deeper than Fuego expected. Months earlier, it might have frightened him. Tonight, it made something warm spread through his chest. "I'd like that too," Fuego replied. Matthias smiled. "Good night, Fuego." Fuego answered, "Good night, Matthias." Fuego watched him walk along the wet path towards the house, the street lamp catching the damp pavement beneath his shoes. At the front door, Matthias turned, lifted 2 fingers to his lips, and blew Fuego a kiss. Fuego shook his head but remained smiling, even after Matthias disappeared inside. "Soft bastard," he muttered. All right, let's check in on chat. Oh, I see that I have a YouTube is not receiving enough video. Is the stream buffering for you guys? Are you guys doing all right? How is chat doing? Let's check in on chat. How's your flood insurance, guys? Is it protecting you? Have you purchased sufficient flood insurance for what we just went through? I have to wonder. Because that felt very moist. That part specifically. It did buffer for a second. Okay, cool. We're back. We're back. Okay, cool. Stream is good. Awesome. Perfect. Corey saw some buffering. All right. The warning has gone away. Thankfully. So we should be good now. We should be good. Yeah, okay. I just wanted to check in on you guys, you know? Yeah, now Corey's living on a raft now. Corey's living in a raft now. He didn't get flood insurance. Unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. I'm so very sorry, Corey. We did not mean to we did not mean to flush your house away. We did not mean to flush your house away. Sapphire said, "Who needs?" Oh, no, Sapphire, no. No. Little. We try to be a little more chill. We try to hold it back. Hold the flood back! Hold the flood back, woman! Let's see. What else do we got here? I thought this story was going to be someone stepped in a mud puddle sort of thing, and no, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's a little spicier than that. Like I said, I had previewed it yesterday, and
Stop it, baby. That tickles.
At Ginabian3 super chatted $5. Poor Corey lost his house and I'm pregnant for the 5th time.
Poor Gina is pregnant for the 5th time. Let's see here. Let's get some.
Stop it, baby. That tickles.
At MJ_redacted super chatted $2. Speak no evil.
Oh, thank you, Gina. Thank you, MJ. Appreciate you guys so much. You guys seem to be loving that cat cam. That's for sure. It's definitely helping give us a little bit of a reprieve in between moments of heat. We need it. We need it. Thank you guys so much. And poor Gina. Poor Gina. That's a lot of babies in like a span of an hour and a half. That is a lot of babies. The drive home felt strangely unreal. The roads were almost empty. Faint fog gathering low against the pavement and glowing silver beneath the streetlights. Fuego drove with one hand on the wheel while the evening replayed itself in fragments. Matthias's hand against his chest, the warmth of his body, the smell of his cologne, the fogged glass. The moment Fuego had pulled away and the fact that Matthias had stopped immediately. The kisses afterwards. Most unsettling of all was the realization that Fuego had wanted more. The thought frightened him, but the fear no longer felt like a warning. It felt like standing on the edge of something. Later, Fuego lay awake in bed while the digital clock cast a pale blue glow across the room. The house was silent, except for the occasional hiss of tires on wet pavement outside. His sheets smelled faintly of laundry detergent, but beneath that lingered traces of the cologne he'd worn earlier. And every time he shifted, he caught another reminder of the night. He closed his eyes and immediately saw Matthias again. The warm hand against his chest, the thumb across his lip. The way his expression had changed when he leaned closer. The kisses, especially the kisses. Fuego rolled onto his side and muttered into the darkness. My lips are soft, in a deliberately awful imitation of Matthias. He lay there for a moment and then smiled despite himself. Prick. He rolled onto his back and let the memories come. This time he didn't try to push them away. He thought about the way Matthias's hand had settled at his waist, the warmth through their clothes, the pressure of his body leaning closer, the uneven breath between the kisses. Fuego's own hand eventually slipped beneath the covers as his thoughts wandered with it, chasing the lingering heat the evening had left behind. He did not need to imagine much. The car had already given him enough to work with. He allowed himself to dwell on the sensation of being wanted, on the way Matthias had looked at him, on the possibility of what might have happened without a center console between the two. The fantasy remained hazy around the edges, more sensation than detail, but it was enough to make his breathing deepen before the tension finally gave way to exhaustion. Sleep came slowly, and when it did, Matthias followed him there. In the dream, sweet and sour Love was empty except for the two of them. Hundreds of candles burned across the restaurant, their light reflected endlessly in the dark windows. Matthias sat opposite him with that same controlled smile, though somehow the collar of his shirt had come further undone. Between them rested an enormous bowl of dumpling soup. Matthias lifted one dumpling carefully with his spoon and asked, "Want one?" Fuego smiled and replied, "Depends." Matthias tilted his head. "On what?" Fuego's gaze lowered, then returned to his eyes. "How soft is it?" Matthias's eyebrow rose, and then the restaurant disappeared. The dream folded inward, and suddenly they were back inside the car. Every window was fogged. Matthias's hand rested against Fuego's cheek. His face moved closer, his breath warming the final inch between them. And just as Fuego leaned forward, a sharp electronic sound cut through the dream. Ding. Fuego opened his eyes to the darkness of his bedroom. His phone glowed on the bedside table, illuminating the edge of the mattress and throwing a faint rectangle of light across the sheets. He reached for it and squinted at the screen. A notification from filled holes awaited for him. For several seconds, he considered ignoring it. But curiosity won. Fuego unlocked the phone, opened the app, and found a new profile waiting beneath the softly pulsing heart logo. Hugh Jass, 42. Fuego stared at the name. Then he stared a little longer. A slow grin spread across his face. "What? Hugh Janus was already taken," Fuego muttered into the darkness. He shook his head, still smiling, and looked down at the profile picture. The app offered him the familiar choice beneath it. One direction promising rejection, and the other possibility. Fuego's thumb drifted toward the screen and hovered over the swipe control. For a moment, he thought about Matthias, about the warmth of the restaurant, the fogged windows, the kiss that had stayed with him all the way home. Then he looked back at Hugh Jass, 42, waiting patiently beneath a name that should never have survived account creation. Fuego's thumb lowered slightly. And that, ladies and gentlemen, has been Chapter 1, Filled Holes, by R.A. Stov. Where we are precisely, we finished immediately at the 2-hour mark. I could not do that again if I tried. Yep, it's finally over. What the fuck did we just read? I am intrigued. I am horrified. Yeah. Wow. We made it. We did it. I think I need some eye bleach. Jesus Christ. Oh. And
I like members in my ass.
thank you, MJ. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I loved one thing. The fact that I don't think I fucked up or forgot the voices.
Stop it, baby. That tickles.
At Alex_T0617 super chatted $80. For the chat and especially for Rastov, they get Chapter 2.
Let's fucking go, Alex! Thank you! Oh, that is awesome! You guys are really gonna need flood insurance now. I cannot imagine Chapter 2 is gonna be any less spicy. Corey must be very pumped. Oh, this. I wonder what. Oh, thank you so much, Alex. I am so curious to know what the hell R.A. Stov is gonna come up with for Chapter 2. Oh, good God. Well, yep. We're gonna have to get ready for Gina's baby shower. Gina says fire is even more pumped. Pumped might be the incorrect word, considering what we just read. We're gonna keep all sorts of words that have anything to do with any kind of thing away from the hello HR. Exactly. Wait, Corey, aren't you HR? Who's assigned HR this week? Is it MJ? Anyway. Rastov says, I think Chapter 2 is going to be a lot more emotional. Interesting. Yeah, I am very curious to see what Rastov comes up with. Very curious. That was actually impressive. I will definitely give him this. He took the assignment very seriously. This man took the assignment very, very seriously, and you know what? I'm proud of him for it. We got that. Where's the other one? What did I do with the other one? Oh, the other one's gonna be in the just the stream intro. I didn't put it into this screen, but anyway, that was absolutely phenomenal. I think, and this is my suggestion. I think you should make Chapter 1 available for VIP members. That is my suggestion. I think you should make that available for VIP members. That might be a thing, maybe, possibly. I don't know. Otherwise, they're just gonna have to come back to this stream and just listen to it again. And I mean, I'm actually kind of cool with that too. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming to my my stream. This was absolutely hilarious. Thank you all so much for your support, for being here, for once again giving me your time. I'm glad you all had fun, because that's what we're gonna call it, just fun. And I'm glad you guys. Thank you, Lunamar, for the sunshine. Thank you all so much for being here. We'll have to definitely look into chapter 2 for next time. But for now, live and let live. And you guys have a wonderful, wonderful night. Peace out.